You are Locked On Knicks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, here we go. Jalen Brunson for a second consecutive night. The Knicks hero. The Knicks beat the Raptors in Toronto thanks to some huge shots down the stretch from the captain. Final score 121-115. And after the Houston win last night, quite a back-to-back set for New York as they win both ends. Brunson led the way. He had 28. Karl Anthony Towns was a beast tonight. 27 points, 20 rebounds. Let's break it all down. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 20 years in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad you're aboard. Follow me on X as well, at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks Postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The Postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, as for tonight, many others to credit. Precious Achiuwa was good. He had a season-high 17. Even Ariel Hukporti with some significant minutes, obviously filling in for OG Anunoby, who missed his second straight game with the right foot sprain. Josh Hart also had a strong second half, and considering he didn't score in the first half, well, we'll get to the numbers. He was pretty good, specifically in that second half. All that coming up on the Postcast. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. All right, as we said, Knicks win at 121-115. They've won 7 of 8. Obviously, the loss to the Lakers last Saturday night, but what a way to bounce back. First against the Rockets last night at the Garden, then a late night, turns into an early morning, turns into travel, again going to sleep late, waking up early in a strange bed in a strange city, but the Knicks get the job done as well. Big reason why Jalen Brunson. Brunson was 10 of 21 from the floor. As we said, had 28 points. Did knock down 2 3-pointers. Karl Anthony Towns did most of his damage in the first half. 27 and 20 total, including 9 offensive rebounds for the big guy. He was 20 and 15 in the first half alone. Really an amazing first half for Cat, 20 and 15. Those are rare. He finished 10 of 19. We talked about the offensive rebounds. The Knicks had 17 of them tonight. 6 for Precious Achiuwa. We'll get to him. Karl Anthony Towns had 9 offensive rebounds, 9 of the 20 he had. Again, 27 points and 20 rebounds for Karl Anthony Towns. As we've said, the Knicks are hit by the injury bug. No OG Anunoby, still waiting for Mitchell Robinson. So that leaves it to Mikal Bridges as the only Knick that has played or at least started every game so far. Here's the rub, or at least the catch. Only 9 players, and we discussed this last night once OG went down. Now only 9 players remain that have played in every game for their respective team. Mikal Bridges is one of them. And the success against the Raptors continues. The Knicks have now beaten the Raptors 8 straight times. They sweep the season series from Toronto already. Folks, we just started February. We're going into the spring, hopefully the summer. But again, the Knicks have beaten the Raptors 8 straight times for this season. They're 4-0, a perfect 4-0 against the Raptors. Now, as we said, it seemed like it was a tale of two games. First half, second half, things changed. In the first half, well, the Knicks ended the first half on a 17-4 run. They outscored the Raptors 38-17 in the second period alone, one of the strongest second periods for the Knicks this season. Again, outscoring Toronto 38-17. All right, big reason why, obviously, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. As for Josh Hart, well, what a night for Josh. We've been lauding his 2-point field goal percentage, and it's nearly 70%. Not much to chat about for Hart in the first half tonight because he didn't score any points. However, he responded with a big second half. Hart pumped in 15, grabbed 7 rebounds, dished out 6 assists, even chipped in with a steal, was a +3. And again, 15 and 7, considering he started from scratch. Quite a night for Josh Hart. We talked about Precious Achiuwa, who, of course, takes the spot of OG Anunoby in the starting lineup. He played 36 minutes tonight. That's 9 straight games for Precious Achiuwa with double-digit minutes per game. He had a season-high 17 points, and considering he came off a 15-15 game, Precious Achiuwa certainly making his presence felt. Had a season-high 17 tonight, as we said. Also chipped in with 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, and he fouled out for good measure. 6 fouls. He was a -14. However, 7 of 11 from the floor, including a 3-pointer, 6 offensive rebounds. So the combination tonight of Precious Achiuwa and Karl Anthony Towns, folks, this is an amazing stat. 15 offensive rebounds between the two of them. The Knicks had 17 on the night, just 2 besides the combination of Achiuwa and Towns. Really a second chance kind of night on the offensive boards for the Knicks. Knicks were exactly 50% from the floor, 47 of 94. Now, as for the three-point numbers, they have not been great of late. Knicks took 25 three-pointers, only made 8 of them, obviously well below the number of threes they average per game, well below the three-point percentage they average per game. We've talked about free throws a lot throughout the season. It was good. It was bad. Perhaps it's getting better now. Knicks 19 of 23 from the floor, from the line, only missing 4 free throws. As for the assist numbers, well, you know the deal by now. The benchmark we look for here at the Postcast, 30-plus assists per game. When the Knicks do that, they're 19-2. So 21 of the 51 games they played, roughly a third, the Knicks have dished out at least 30 assists, and that usually means a win. They're 19-2 when they dish out 30 assists. Not the case tonight. They had dished out just 26 assists, but they only had 11 turnovers, so a pretty good ratio there. As for the Raptors, now, they did, or at least were out-rebounded by the Knicks, 43-34. However, they had 27 assists. Knicks forced 14 turnovers tonight. We talk about the plus-minus a lot, some ugly numbers, specifically on the Toronto side. Former friend Emmanuel Quickley, who's playing in just his 12th game of the season. For some reason, the Raptors just cannot get healthy. Obviously, no R.J. Barrett tonight, still out, still in the concussion protocol. Their leading scorer, their best player, not there tonight. So kudos to the Raptors for hanging tough. As for Quickley, who was the only former Knick to play tonight, 21 minutes despite starting, 3 of 5 from the floor, and was a -17. The lowest besides Scotty Barnes, who was a -18. So again, tough times for Emmanuel Quickley, who again played just 21 minutes, 3 of 5 from the floor, and was a -17 for just 9 points. As we said, huge blow to Toronto. If you saw the play, they showed it tonight, the replay. Pretty nasty. His head hits the ground in the previous game after a tough play. He did finish that game. The symptoms did not arise until several days later, and that's why R.J. Barrett now in the concussion protocol. And as we said, Emmanuel Quickley, played just 11 games before tonight, and even though he started, he was ineffective, played just 21 minutes. Now on to the minutes police. They're making their daily presence felt. Josh Hart, who we know, second in the NBA, roughly 38 minutes per. He played 37. As for Mikal Bridges, obviously continues to lead the NBA in minutes per, 39 minutes per. He played 41 tonight. No surprise there. The only surprise there is where those minutes showed up, specifically late in the fourth quarter, only because Toronto had cut a 23-point deficit down to 1. Amazing stuff. Quite a second half for Toronto, with most of their damage coming in the third quarter, outscoring New York 35-30. As we said, Precious played 36 minutes, which is a big number for him. Karl Anthony Towns played 39. Of all the starters, only Jalen Brunson was below the 35-minute mark. He played 34. As we said, Precious fouled out despite the tremendous box score. Only 4 players came off the bench tonight. Jericho Sims for a quick minute. As we said, Hukporti, Deuce, and Cam Payne, the only significant players off the bench tonight, and they all got double-digit minutes tonight. Speaking of double digits, every Knicks starter was in double digits, 17 apiece for Precious and Mikal Bridges. Bridges, an efficient night, 7 of 13, just 1 3-pointer, but again, 7 of 13 from the floor. We told you about Cat, we told you about Brunson, and the odd night for Josh Hart, who, of course, had 0 points, 0 field goals in the first half, finished up 7 of 17 for 15 points, did not take a 3-pointer tonight. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we got to do the standings. A huge game tonight between the only 2 teams in the Eastern Conference in front of the Knicks, Celtics and Cavaliers in Cleveland. We'll tell you who won coming up on the other side. All right, folks, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What are some of your relationship green flags? We often hear about the red flags we should avoid, but what if we focused more on identifying the positive signs in our relationships? Those green flags. Well, if you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify them, actively practice them, and even embody that green flag energy yourself. Whether you're dating, married, building a friendship, or just working on yourself, therapy can help you form relationships that love you back. Therapy helps you develop healthy boundaries and improves your communication skills. It empowers you to set clear expectations and express your needs in relationships. Therapy provides tools for managing conflict in ways that strengthen your connections rather than break them down. BetterHelp makes it easy by offering online therapy with over 30,000 licensed therapists to choose from. And if you need to switch therapists, you can do so at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, we are back. As we said, a tale of 2 games tonight. Knicks win, and that's all that matters. However, up 23 early, that lead trend down to single digits late before the Knicks would eventually pull away. So again, up 23, especially in the second half, you figured this one's over. Well, as Jalen Brunson said in a post-game interview tonight, kudos to the Raptors for hanging tough. They were not going to quit against anybody. And considering they didn't have their best player, their number 1 scorer, again, kudos to the Raptors, who are just 16-34 overall. As for the overall numbers, Knicks are now 34-17, 16-8 away from Madison Square Garden. And again, the 5th best road record in all of the NBA. Again, 34-17 overall, 16-8 away. As for that monster game between the Celtics and the Cavaliers, that too featured a big lead down to a little lead and then a team pulling away. And that would be your Boston Celtics, who beat the Cavs tonight 112-105. So those standings, both the Celtics and Knicks pick up a game on the Cavaliers. Celtics pulled it within 4.5 of Cleveland. Knicks pulled it within 6.5 of Cleveland. They remain 2 back of the Celtics, who are in the 2 spot, obviously. Cavaliers, their 10th loss of the season. They're 40-10, still playing .800 basketball. Celtics 37-15. The Knicks are 35-17. Again, 2 games back of the Celtics, who just, by the way, happen to be on the schedule coming up. We'll get to that in a moment. Karl Anthony Towns now has 39 double-doubles in 46 games. A double-double machine. We should start pointing out the games he doesn't have a double-double in, because those are fewer and far between. He has played now 4 games against the Raptors, has Towns. If you add in his 27-point performance tonight with 20 rebounds to boot, here are his averages in those 4 games against the Raptors this season. 27-point average, 13 rebound average, 5 assist average. In 4 games against the Raptors. Needless to say, Cat had another big night, and he owns the Raptors. As we said, the Knicks have now beaten the Raptors 8 consecutive times over 2 seasons, 4 of those coming this season. They've already swept the season series from the Raptors, 2-2, 2 in Toronto and 2 in New York. We mentioned Ariel Hukporti, who played a season-high 19 minutes tonight, 6 points on 3 of 3 shooting, but it was his board work, if you will, that impressed everybody. 5 boards, 2 assists, and was a +8. And obviously he's getting early minutes and extensive minutes, significant minutes, because of the absence of OG Anunoby. Anunoby, who had not missed a game before the Lakers game, or at least before the second half of the Lakers game, has now missed 2 in a row. And we told you, Bridges remains the only Knick to play in every game this year, just one of 9 players in the entire league. That's a lot of folks. The entire league. Only 9 guys have played in every one of their respective teams' games. Mikal Bridges is one of them. Oh, he's also averaging the most minutes per game in the NBA, as we said, at roughly 39 per. Josh Hart right behind him at 38 per. OG was also in the top 10. Obviously, no need to update his minutes per game because he's not playing. But again, he too was in the top 10 at over 35 minutes per game. Josh Hart played 37 tonight, effective, but a very strange night from Josh. As we said, did not contribute offensively in the first half, had 0 points. He actually took 17 shots on the night, so it wasn't for trying, or at least not trying. But he did his damage in the second half. As we said, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal, finished +3. Mikal Bridges, by the way, was the highest Knick in the plus-minus category. He was a +14. Karl Anthony Towns was a +13. And again, solid shooting from the line for the Knicks as well. It's been a problem. It wasn't. Then it was. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, maybe it's not a problem anymore. They were 19 of 23 from the line. Again, mentioning the offensive rebounds, we do it nightly because the Knicks are so good at it. 17 rebounds. To give you an example, or at least an idea of what we're going up against as far as offensive rebounds, Toronto didn't necessarily have a bad night on the boards. They were only out rebounded by 9, 43-34. They did have 10 offensive rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns had 9 by himself. Between him and Precious, 15 offensive rebounds. An amazing night. And yet still, with all of that, with the Knicks shooting 50% from the floor, a 9-rebound edge, all the offensive rebounds, they still needed a late spurt from Jalen Brunson, including the dagger 3 late, to overcome the Raptors. Tells you all you need to know about how tired the Knicks were, how tough the Raptors are despite their record, and moral victories in the NBA in 2025 mean nothing. But again, kudos to the Raptors for whatever that's worth for hanging tough. Again, 121-115, the final score. We'll do the schedule next as we take our final break on the postcast. All right, Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel's Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, we're back, folks. Final segment of the show. Knicks took on the Raptors in Toronto. Took out the Raptors in Toronto. Again, 121-115. Knicks are now 34-17 overall, 16-8 away. They're the fifth best road record in the NBA, considering we have 240-win teams and teams ahead of the Knicks. Kudos for that road record. Really good stuff. All right, we talked about the Celtics. They beat the Cavaliers tonight. So the Knicks are now within 6.5 of Cleveland, 2 full games behind Boston. And guess what? Next game up on the schedule, your Boston Celtics. Unfortunately, you're going to have to wait until Saturday. No game Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. 3 days off for the Knicks. I'm sure they will enjoy the time off after getting back home. However, we want to see the Knicks play every day because it's fun. We're not going to get to see them until Saturday when they face the Celtics at the Garden. The second straight Saturday night that the Knicks will play in primetime against their bitter rival. Of course, it was the Lakers last Saturday night where they lost. That was a 128-112 loss to LeBron and the Lakers. Of course, LeBron had his 4th triple-double in MSG history in that game. But again, a week later, the Knicks will face the Celtics, also at Madison Square Garden, also on national television, also in prime time, 8:30 tip time. Not a fan of that, but again, it's prime time, so it's the Celtics. Celtics do have a game before then, but again, Boston beat Cleveland in Cleveland tonight, just the 10th loss of the season for the Cavaliers. So the Knicks will face Boston on Saturday. They'll have 2 more days off after that before getting back out on the road to face the Pacers in a week. That's a week from tonight in Indianapolis against the Pacers. Then home for the Atlanta Hawks on the 12th. That is a week from tomorrow. And then we get the All-Star break. So it should be fun, some time off. Again, the Celtics coming your way on Saturday night. Knicks, as we said, a tale really of 2 games. The first half was excellent tonight. The Knicks outscored the Raptors 38-17 in the second quarter alone. They ballooned that lead to 23 before the Raptors went on a run. A 12-0 run late third quarter catapulted them to within single-digit points. The lead was trimmed all the way down to 2 and then 1. The Raptors could not get over the hump. Knicks pull away late, as we said, with big shots from Jalen Brunson, including a huge three-pointer. All right, we told you about the OG significance between being on the court and being off the court. And since he's been traded from Toronto to New York, the records have been pretty telling. OG, when he has played since the trade to the Knicks, New York is 52-20. Without, finally above 500 for the first time. They're 15-14, including these last 2 wins, without OG. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before we see him because of that right foot sprain. But again, The Knicks have played 29 games without him since the trade and 72 games with him. 52-20 when he plays, 15-14 when he doesn't. Gives you an idea of how important OG Anunoby is, despite the fact that Precious Achiuwa was so good tonight and has been so good. He's being rewarded with playing time. The capital that the coach has more than anything is playing time, minutes. That's what he can distribute. And he's giving it to Precious. He's giving it to Hukporti as well. Achiuwa played 36 minutes tonight. Ariel Hukporti, who hadn't played in a while before the last game, obviously forced into duty because of the OG injury. Well, he played 19 minutes tonight, effective minutes. Hit all 3 of his shots. And if you recall, he played in the last game, but picked up 4 fouls in like 10 minutes. So they certainly used him for the fouls. No fouls tonight for Ariel Hukporti, and was a +8 in his time on the court. Again, Knicks 34-17, 16-8 away. They beat the Raptors tonight, 121-115. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also want to mention our partners in crime, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf. You know them as the All-Stars. They handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. Knicks again beat the Raptors 121-115. They've won 7 of 8. They've won 2 straight since the bad loss to the Lakers at the Garden last Saturday night. And again, some time off for New York. They'll rest, lick their wounds Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see about OG. Won't get an update at least until Saturday. That's the Knicks' next game. And again, it's an 8:30 tip time from the Garden, national TV, against the rival Celtics, who, of course, beat Cleveland tonight. And the Knicks are now 6.5 behind Cleveland, 2 behind the Celtics for the 2 spot. All right, that's it. 121-115. We will see you Saturday night.